I'm going to make a beautiful English onion soup. None of this French onion soup malarkey. We're going to go English soup. So I've got red onions, white onions, the little sort of Italian sort of banana and cipollini type ones. Slice them up. Quicker the better, really. Otherwise, you end up getting into tears. My first job in the kitchen was an onion slicer. I think they did it to test me so that I didn't cry. But they did it to me so often that I came down in a pair of goggles and a snorkel. And it did work. But can you imagine what I look like chopping onions for like an hour? I've never done a recipe crying before. If you were sensible, you'd get a food processor with a slicing attachment, unless you want an excuse to cry, really. I mean, it's been a lovely day. You know, it really has been a lovely day planting and doing my onion recipes. Oh, God, it's emotional. So, done my onions. I'm going to add to the story with the leeks. Just take off the ends, take off these bits, and to clean it, obviously it needs a good clean. Just run your knife from here, in with it, all the way up, and then do the other way as well. You'd naturally be tended to put some water down there, but actually do it the other way. Put water down that way, wash it that way, wash it out, and just go through all the little layers. So, you know, onion soup, but with a little bit of help from some of the other alliums. So cut these lovely leeks up. I'm tempted hardly even to chop the garlic up, just to squash it. So, get your pan, add some oil, nice lug of oil, a little bit of butter. First thing that I want to touch this pan is some sage. Sage and onion, meaty, fragrant. Let's use it with passion and vigour. And then I want to put in the garlic. And once we give it a good old slush around, that's a nice start. And then we bring in our onions into there. There you go. We'll literally mix that up. Now, always cook onions with a good pinch of salt and pepper. And that is fantastic. And I'm going to turn this down to a medium. You know, if you want that to be brilliant, then the one thing you can give that is a bit of love, a bit of time. And the time will make those onions go from being really like, wah, and making you cry, to being like incredibly sweet and meaty and sort of beautiful in flavour. So 25 minutes, just leave that to cook now. Right, have a look at this. You can see how those onions have sort of shrunk in size. And with this, you know, if you kind of smeared that, you know, on top of a steak or a burger in a bun, rah, that'll be incredible. And to make this into a soup, we need stock now. Traditionally, you go for a beef stock, right? Chicken stock is brilliant. If you wanted to make your own, really easy, get a load of chicken or beef bones, toss them in a bit of oil, some herbs, whole onions, whole garlic, roast them in the oven for 45 minutes, bit of colour. Pour it in a pot, top it up with water, simmer it for a couple of hours. From that, you'll get a quality stock. Now, we want to mix this up out now. It's about 4 pints of stock to a kilo of onions, garlic and leek. And what I want to do is just simmer that now. Simmer that for about sort of 10, 15 minutes. So, while that's cooking, I'm going to get my bread and I want to cut that in half. And then, basically, this isn't supposed to be made with fresh, lovely bread. This is supposed to be made with stale bread, so it sort of sucks up all the lovely sort of soup and becomes nice and crisp. Get them out like this. Here. And I'll just grate this cheddar. British cheese, really, really good. just get yourself a grater and grate a whole load of cheese over the bread. And you could do this when it's in the bowl, but what I want to do is just a whole load just like that. Bring this over here. To give it a nice little mix up, to get a nice mixture of sort of stock and onions, and then straight into that bowl. There we go. So all 4 of those have been filled up nicely. So I've got my soups done. I want to get my little toasties and just ram them in like that. And then a few extra bits on top. Worcestershire sauce. Just a swig. I don't want this to ruin or wreck or overtake, but just a few little dribbles onto that cheese. Amazing. So I've got some lovely sage leaves here, and what I want to do is just give it a little drizzle of oil. Then it can transmit all its lovely flavour, as well as sort of looking a bit pretty, which I hate to admit is kind of what I'm doing. But, you know, I wouldn't dare do it unless it did deliver that lovely flavour. And there you go. From here, under a grill, and let it all melt. And it literally only takes a minute. Ho ho ho! Look at that. That is a proper English onion soup. Beautiful. That is the real deal. That is English onion soup. Look at that. Hello, lovely people. Okay, we're going to do an amazing soup that I learned inspiration of a trip I had to Costa Rica, and we went to this incredible area and they had this black bean soup with beautiful eggs poached in it at the last minute. Incredible, with tortillas and a little salsa. Really healthy. It's got 3 of your 5 a day and it's packed full of the good stuff. So very simply, get some celery and just strip it into little lengths like this, and then we're gonna just roughly chop it into like centimetre dice. In a pan, we're gonna use a Dutch oven like this, put it on a medium heat. We're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna go in with the celery. Then we're gonna go in with the garlic. And then as you're adding these flavours, the smell is amazing. We're gonna get some thyme here. You could use oregano if you wanted to. Then we're gonna go in with the 2 little bay leaves, okay? These go in. Fragrance, beautiful. Then we're gonna go in with 2 finely chopped onions. I'm using red onions, but of course you could use white onions or even leeks if you wanted to. I like the idea of a little kick, a little spice to it. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of chili. About half a chili goes in. Then peppers. We love our peppers. I just get my thumbs and push in this little stalk, and then I pull it up like that. So remove the seeds, roughly chop the peppers into kind of centimetre chunks. A nice little pinch of seasoning goes in. While that's frying, I'm going to get on with a kind of kicker. Okay, so let's have a little look at that. We've got a bowl here, and we want to make a kind of salsa. Okay, so I've got a small bunch of coriander here. I want to use the top half for my salsa, and this bottom half, the stalks, they're nice and clean. We're going to finely slice that, okay? You know, the stalks have got loads of flavour, don't throw them away. So they go in, beautiful. And then the leaves are going to go in my funky little salsa. I'm just going to roughly chop the leaves like that. And then I'm going to take some chilies. It could be like a jalapeno, it could be a red chili, you know, it really can be anything you like. I'm going to take a little bit of lime juice. I'm using these different coloured chilies just because I got them. The chilies go in, the coriander goes in, then we're going to go in with the juice of 1 lime. Then all I want to do is add a little swig of olive oil, okay? And a pinch of salt. And then just use a little spoon to mix that up. It's very, very simple, guys. So we've got 800 grams of tinned or Tetra Pak beans, black beans going in. Of course you can use any beans, but black beans are actually the highest protein beans that you can get. Look at that, look at the colour, juice and all. I'm gonna go in with about 400 mils of water. Right, we'll bring this to the boil and let it thunder along and boil hard for 10 minutes. This dish I had cooked for me, little area of Costa Rica called the Nicoya Peninsula. These lovely ladies, sort of in their 50s, cooked it with me. And they cooked it for their dad, who was 106 years old. Let's turn it down now. Gentle, 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 gentle. Let's take out the bay leaf, so they easily come out. It's done its job now, fragrance, so we can get rid of that. And then I'm gonna use a little hand blender and just blitz up. So look, I've just blitzed like a quarter of it, okay? And what you get is this. You've got chunks, but also you've got smoothness and kind of comfort there as well. So a little bit of both. So at this point, we're gonna have a little taste. Oh, have a think. God, it's good. Adjust your seasoning. And then I want it to be on a gentle heat here. So I'll turn that right down. And then we're gonna go in with our eggs. And very simply, crack, and in it goes. And you're gonna poach that egg in that soup. Then we've got tortillas, and we can toast these, we can put them on a griddle pan, or you can just put it on a gas hob, just to warm them through, okay? It takes seconds. So let's serve this up, this wonderful hearty dish. There's your egg, just like that. Couple of ladles of your soup, and then go in with the egg bomb on top. Boom. You want to add that flourish with this salsa. A little drizzle of olive oil. Right, let's have a little look at this egg. Cut in there. Oh, yes. And then just chop it up. Get your tortilla. So good. This is a soup. It's a real heart warmer. It's such good comfort food. I'm making a soup like a minestrone. It's a pearl barley soup, loads of veg, and it's proper comfort food. So this is something you can make in a big pan. You can do a batch of it, so you can cook for a load of people or make it once and have a meal that you can reheat again in the week. So it's a cracker. Get yourself a big pan. First up, chorizo. 150 grams is all I need. Run your knife through the sausage. You can have some big bits and some fine bits. There's so much love gone into this already. Spices, sweetness, peppers. A little touch of nice olive oil to the pan. Add this chorizo. It smells incredible already. We're gonna get loads of veg into this soup. So 2 onions, just kind of roughly chopped. So in with the onion, and then we'll kind of just keep chopping and adding. And over the course of sort of 10 minutes, this will be the most tasty base. 2 carrots, cut them up any way you like, just get them fine-ish. And then celery. Celery's a funny one, it doesn't crack jokes or anything like that. But people think that it doesn't do anything, but what it does is it gives a fantastic base. We'll get 2 sticks in there as well. I'm also gonna add some herbs, so 2 bay leaves, dried or fresh. And then the whole thing of this is just to invest about 10 minutes in stirring and slow cooking this lovely base. Concentrating the flavors, it's gonna be so much tastier. There's another ingredient I wanna show you instead of pasta that I think is a brilliant healthy swap, right? And this is pearl barley. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can use it to bulk out things like soups and stews. It's really delicious, it's very nutritious. So it's kind of like veg, goodness, this is what we want. We want healthy, clever swaps. 200 grams goes in, stir that in, and let it soak up all the flavor. What I can do now is add some tinned tomatoes. Try and get the whole tomatoes, right? It makes all the difference. Break up those tomatoes with a spoon. You don't want big chunks in there. It smells so good. Wowzers. So you want about 1.8 litres of stock, veggie, chicken, or even water's fine. Like I said earlier, we're batch cooking, right? So we're doing a nice big batch. This will be enough for 8 to 10 people. So lid on, and once it's come to the boil, turn it down to a medium heat, let that simmer for 40 minutes to cook the barley, and then I'll show you what to do next. So it's had 40 minutes. It smells incredible. And there's one last ingredient that I want to put in here, which is cabbage. The cabbage family. You can choose any cabbage you like. Kale, I really like at the moment. So a nice wodge of that kale goes in. Any of the cabbage family is super, super good for you. With all these flavors, it's gonna taste so, so good. This is supposed to be a thick, comforting soup, but really you should adjust the consistency so you like it, okay? So I'll add a little bit more water, But one of the things I like to do, which is optional by the way, is if you want a little bit of kind of silkiness, just use a little hand blender. You don't have to do it, but it's quite nice to do in just one corner, right? Just to make it a puree, and then fold it through all the chunks. So you get the best of both worlds, from brothy, chunky, and sort of silky. So look, lid on top, turn that down, 5 more minutes, and then I'll serve it. Here we are, lovely people. A really gorgeous, humble, delicious thing. Really important, actually. This taste and season to perfection. Oh my God. Wow. Delicious, big, juicy, comforting flavor. Wow. It only needs a tiny bit of salt and a little pepper, and that, my friends, is a mighty, mighty soup. You could serve that with some bread, but it doesn't really need it. Lunch, dinner, a little pick-me-up. That is a beautiful, beautiful dish that's going to put smiles on people's faces. Let's have a little try. Oh my Lord. Wow, big flavour. It's smoky, it's sweet, it's really comforting, makes you feel really good. I just love it. So I really want you to try this soup, guys. Hey guys, I hope you're really, really well. I'm gonna show you my recipe for the most delicious veggie mighty mulligatawny. It's a great soup, it's full of the good stuff. Let me show you how to make this beautiful soup. It's so simple. Get yourself a high-sided pot on a medium heat. I'm gonna use spring onions, but you can of course use leeks or onions. So 1 bunch we're gonna use. A couple of sticks of celery, which is just beautifully fragrant. So I'll just cut the celery in half like that, and then lengthwise into little chunks, and just finely chop it. Just put a little tablespoon of oil into the pan, and then as you're chopping each veggie, just get that into the pan. I really love the kind of sweetness that you get from this. So again, just finely slice the spring onions. In we go. So give that a nice little stir. What we're gonna do now is just gonna take it a completely different direction. You're gonna get amazing results with curry paste. They're really good quality. You can get all kinds of different pastes, so pick your favorite. And we're gonna put 2 tablespoons in here. What I love about it is it's a great family dish because you can use up leftovers. But I wanna concentrate today on this. Butternut pumpkin, as they call it in some parts of the world. So 500 grams is about that much. I'll cut this in half. I'll use the end that doesn't have any seeds just to make my life a little bit easier. So I'm gonna leave the skin on. Why? Because it's one less job and because it has the most amazing flavor. So very carefully get yourself a box grater and just gently grate the flesh and the skin. There's actually something really nice about the kind of technique of grating. And I find that it kind of just gives you a slightly different flavor. Look at that, grated butternut pumpkin. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this into the pan, and then let's grate the rest of it. And we're just gonna sweat that off for a little bit while I have a quick little wipe down. So I wanna show you like a little preparation that I love to do. I get a little bowl and I put in some cold water. I'm gonna use the herb coriander. I've got a nice little bunch here and I'm just gonna pick through it. So that top leaf that's nice and beautiful, that will be garnish for sprinkling on at the end. And then with the rest of it and the stalks, I'm just gonna finely slice up and put it into that soup. And look, if you don't like coriander, some people don't, I love it. You could use a little bit of mint, which is really nice. You could even use basil actually. So in we go with the herbs. It smells amazing. So look, at this point, I'm gonna season generously with pepper, and I'll put a nice little pinch of salt in there as well. I'll go in with 2 liters of stock. The better the stock, the better the soup. You can use beef, you can use lamb, chicken, veggie stock, whatever you've got. That will remove all the sticky bits from the bottom of the pan, and that will give you a nice dark color as well. And then 100 grams of rice. So look, I'm gonna bring that to the boil and then simmer it for about 15 minutes until the rice is beautifully cooked. And you should end up with a really beautiful, tasty, slightly thickened soup that's gonna be a joy to eat. Right, 15 minutes. So this has had just under 15 minutes. I can see already that the rice is swollen up. So it's nearly there. Now, I did say this is a great opportunity to get more veggies into this great dish, right? And we don't just have to use veggies or any leftovers, you can use the freezer. So 2 great things that I always have in my freezer are frozen peas and frozen spinach. So 300 grams of each straight in there. Frozen spinach, sometimes people look down on, they think it's really substandard. It's a really brilliant little veggie to have in your freezer, ready to use. So now the spinach and the peas are in there, I'm gonna give it its last 5 minutes of cooking and I'll serve up. So it's been cooking away for 5 minutes, the rice has plumped up, it's absorbed all that lovely spice and stock. Have a little try of the soup. Oh, delicious. This is a really comforting dish, and what I quite like to do is put some nice kind of sprinkles on it. These are all optional, by the way. So let's serve this up first. Look at that. Such a hearty soup. The colours are really amazing. If you want to, just a little teaspoon or two of yogurt allows you to kind of ripple that through. So you can crumble up some poppadoms or some Bombay mix and a little bit of crunch, just a little bit of fun. And then take those lovely coriander leaves and just sprinkle it over the top. Maybe a little kiss of olive oil. So there you go, guys. That is a beautiful, exciting, big, hearty dish. Right, let's have a little try. There's something about having rice in a soup that makes it ultra comforting. So come on, guys, what are you waiting for? Get the ingredients and have a little cook up. You won't regret it. Hi guys, hope you're well. We're gonna make the most delicious, comforting chicken and mushroom soup. The idea of a boring soup, forget it. We are taking soup to the next level. Cozy, deep flavor, amazing. And then how about we make the most incredible pulled chicken crostinis. It's gonna be comfort food to the hilt. So look, it starts here with the humble leftovers of a roast chicken. Any chicken drippings that you get, we'll keep. Any fat that you get, we'll keep. Bones, we'll keep. Even skin, we're going to embrace because they make beautiful things. And you'll be quite amazed how many bits of meat you'll get from all the little cracks and crannies here. Just pull it all off. So for the stock, you can literally take the whole carcass and you can break it up, get it in there, and all the bones into this pan. In there, I'll put, you know, 1.5 litres of water. So we'll get that boiling up and then kind of look around your fridge and your kitchen and just kind of look for stuff that could add to the flavor. So a bit of rosemary, the end of a bit of celery that you might not want to eat. Build this up to be a really beautiful perfumed broth. So next, we're going to do the base for the mushroom soup. So we can absolutely go in there with any of that fat. We can use a little olive oil, no trouble at all. And into that, we have a very, very simple recipe. We've got 1 onion, 1 clove of garlic, 1 stick of celery, and 1 nice sprig of fresh thyme. So just roughly chop the onions, and in we go. And what you're gonna be able to do is caramelize the onions. So celery, in it goes, the garlic, and then you've got your thyme here. Just pick off the nice little leaves, like that. So look, now we've got some colour. It's quite dark, I like that. I'm gonna go in with the mushrooms. Now, you can just go into there and just crumble it in your hands, pull it apart, break it up, because we're gonna puree it probably anyway. Nice. So look, in no time at all, you can see how these mushrooms have cooked down. And it's just dark and frumpy and really kind of wintry looking. So now we're gonna start turning it into a soup, okay? So I'm gonna use a thickening agent, right? I'm gonna use 1 heaped tablespoon of plain flour, just in the soup like that. So stir the flour in, cook it out a little bit, and then we can start adding this beautiful broth. So I'm gonna use a little sieve, because there's bits of herb and stuff in there. And in we go, look at that. Stir that in. So you want to put about 1 litre of stock into this mushroom base and let that simmer for about 10, 15 minutes just to let all the flavours mix up. Now you've got choices, chunky or smooth. There's no right or wrong. Now, the chicken, we could put it through the soup for sure, but how about this? How about we make the most incredible pulled chicken crostinis with crispy chicken skin and a little bit of thyme on top. It's gonna be amazing, guys. It's gonna blow people's mind. So get yourself some lovely bread. So we'll take the chicken here and any leftover juices, just mix it up and just place that on the toasts. in a really rustic, imperfect way. Just pile it on top. I can put it back in this little tray. And then with the skin, just take it, slice it up, and put it on the top. And it will go so crispy. So all I'm gonna do is pick a little bit of thyme and just put that on the top. The perfume from that will be amazing. And I'll just literally pop this in the oven for like 10, 15 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. It's gonna be so, so good. So look at that, guys. It's looking very, very beautiful. And this has been a joy to make. I'm gonna use a hand blender. You could use a blender or a liquidizer. And I'm gonna liquidize just a little bit of it. A pinch of salt and pepper. So that's good as it is, but don't forget we've got those beautiful little crostini. And 10 or so minutes in the oven, look at that. So you know that's gonna be good. A crispy skin, right? People are gonna go nuts for it. Okay, so this is how I like to serve this up. When I make this, I'm going back to the good old days, right? This is cream of mushroom and chicken soup. We ain't just gonna serve that up. We didn't do that in the 80s. We have perms, we had flares, chamon. We're gonna take some double cream and we're just gonna kind of give it a little random bit of decoration, right? You thought I was just gonna make chicken soup, didn't you? No, 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 no. We're gonna take our little leftovers croûte and we're just gonna float it like the Titanic. We are taking soup to the next level. We might take a little bit of olive oil. Happy days, chicken and mushroom soup. Yeah. What are you waiting for? Make it, try it, share it, because you know it makes sense.